All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Evan Holliday. I'm the manager of collegiate admission and retention here at the College of Engineering, Technology, and Architecture. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to get started in a couple of minutes, waiting for a few more students to join us. We had a lot of registrations for this, which we're really happy to see. So I know some people might not have used WebEx before, so we want to give everybody just a couple of minutes to get acclimated with it and get on, and then we will get started. And Dean Alnajar, whenever you're ready to put the presentation up on the title screen, it's your show.
All right, thank you. We will wait for a few minutes. So I know if you never used WebEx before, when you join for the first time, it'll ask you to install an add-on, and that's what we are thinking. Those who are doing the add-on for their website, just give them 2-3 more minutes, then we'll start. So I guess, what about 2? Just looking at the attendance list and how it's changing. This is the hard part of being online. I do not see you. I do not know your facial expressions when I say something, but I hope you are relaxing, and I hope you are all doing well and staying healthy. I know this semester has been a challenging one, but I think we are doing very well, and we moved to make sure that students receive what they expect from us. We did it online. So we are moving on, and we are very optimistic and hopeful that everything will be fine. And we appreciate you joining us and your excitement and energy about being here in the hall. I saw a few pictures. I know some of you visited the campus. I saw recently a few pictures of the campus and how it looks. I haven't been there for a while, so I just feel I miss it. I want to go back. You don't know what you miss till you lose it. I'm trying to figure out. There is a song. Road. I don't remember the lyric of it, but you don't know what you miss till you what you have till you miss it. Feeling home or something. But again, thank you for joining us. What we have here for you is really a short program. I think they gave me 20-25 minutes to talk about the college. I think I'm going to talk like for 10 or so or 15 and invite Evan, our enrollment and manager of enrollment and retention in the college, to join in and talk. We have on the presentation, I see our assistant dean, a program director, and some of the panelists, which you will see in a few minutes, around 12:35 students who are a combination of sophomore, juniors, and seniors. I think mostly juniors and senior will be joining us. Then around 1:10 or 1:15, we will invite you to join the rooms for your programs. So here's the program. Now I have to make sure I'm staying in the same screen. I have two screens. So I'll do a presentation, I have a students panel, and sessions for the different programs. If you are interested in robotics, you will join the robotics. The electrical and computer, you join electrical and computer. There are options here: architecture, bio, civil, electrical and computer. They are very much related. The electromechanical and computer and audio engineering technology, the mechanical and acoustical mechanical engineering and acoustical engineering and music program, and finally the robotics. So you can join those units later. So when people ask me what's unique about CETA, College of Engineering, Technology, and Architecture, CETA, I don't have to think really hard. We are different. We are different than many other places because of who we are and our size and our mission. So as a small university, small private university, 4,500 students overall at the university, and about 1,980 students in the College of Engineering, Technology, and Architecture. So the 1,000, if you break it down, we take about 250 students every year, freshmen, incoming class. That's what we can take. So because of that limit, we put the limit because we want to do something else. So we start here, 250 between architecture, engineering, technology, and engineering programs. When we take the engineering programs, typically we have 150 students, around that number. And we take those students, we put them in sections. And our sections are small sections. So typically, small class size, that's where we start. We start somewhere, architecture, it's 12 to 14. Engineering and engineering technology, it's somewhere between 15 to 20 students per session. We cannot have 25 or 30 because our classes are computer lab-based classes, and we can have up to 20 students max. So typically, somewhere between 15 and 20 students in the class. Our goal is to make sure students are ready, career ready. What does that mean? You hear this expression, job ready, career ready, whatever. We are not theoretical based program or programs. We really focus on what do you need. So if you go, I'm talking from experience, some of you heard me, I put 3 kids in college. Of course, they don't go to my place because they don't want to be close to me. They want to be as far as possible. So typically, when we visit other university and you see what's their mission, you're going to see a class, large class, 1 faculty or graduate students. We don't do that. We have full-time faculty teaching the classes. So that means faculty are teaching the classes and focusing on when you graduate, the day you get out and you have your degree, are you ready? Are you prepared? Do you have the added value? That's what we really focus on. Anyone who goes anywhere is going to eventually will get the degree they are seeking. We're talking about engineering, technology, and architecture. They will have the degree. We are trying to make sure our students are different by providing that added value. That added value, hands-on programs. You go into architecture, whatever you see there, the first day, you are in a studio, 12 students with a full-time faculty working on hand drafting, making sure that you know that art. You take courses in architecture history. You go to engineering, we give you a robotic kit. Every student receives a robotic kit, a small kit, and this is yours to keep. We want you to work on it. We want you to figure out how to do it. We give them the help, but we try to do to make sure they understand the innovative part of what they are doing. Learn by doing. Just-in-time knowledge. You need to assemble the kit. What do I need? Figure it out. You need to program it. We show you how to program. Can you imitate it? So we take students step by step in the hands-on program. We do that again because our class size is small. If we have 40 students in a class, I cannot do a project. Nobody can do projects with students. But because of the 15 to 20, we can do hands-on project. So again, our focus is career ready. We have to pack things for them. In the freshman year, you have hands-on. In the sophomore year, in the junior year, in the senior year. We also force them to talk about it by giving them opportunities to present. So all the freshman students, first year students, regardless of the program, at the end of the semester, they have to dress up, create a poster, and go and talk about their project under the formula or the event, which we call Design Expo. We invite people from outside, other faculty, so that opportunity to talk about what you design, what you made, it gives them confidence. They know more. The more you talk about something, the more you know it. So we give them that confidence. We make sure they are able to talk about what they want. Alumni connections here. I'm skipping between lines. I'm trying to connect it with what we are trying, what our mission is and how we do it. When we have the Design Expo, we invite former students, our alums, to come in, participate. Sometimes they are advisory to advise students in the senior project case, sometimes just to give them some feedback. So our programs are accredited. As you see, we have 11 accredited programs. The programs, the accreditation is the stamp of approval. It means we meet all the guidelines set forth by the highest accreditation agency. If you are from this area, if you are from the Hartford, Connecticut, Middle Connecticut area, you know that we have United Technologies, Collin Aerospace, Pratt & Whitney, Electric Boat is about an hour from here, Otis Elevator, Carriers. We have so many companies. Those are the big ones. So now imagine the small ones. We have Stanley Black & Decker. It's next to us. It's about 10 minutes from school. It's a really rich region, which means opportunities for students to go in and get an internship. So that's part of the preparation. Curriculum that's focused on hands-on. They are accredited, small class size, connect them with industry, connect them with our graduate, rich area for industry, help them get an internship, and classes are taught by full-time faculty. This is really who we are and what we do. Now, we give students opportunities in their curriculum. So if you are a mechanical engineering, great, but you can focus on robotics maybe, or you can focus on manufacturing or acoustics. If you are a biomedical engineering, you can focus on electrical or pre-med. Architecture, you can focus on construction management. That's one opportunity we provide to students by helping them get a concentration or get a minor from another college in business, in dancing, and whatever minor they want, they can go and get a minor. We do provide we help students creativity. We want them to be involved, not just like my resume is, I graduated from biomedical engineering program at the University of Hartford. We want them to say on their resume, yes, and here's my GPA, and these are the projects we worked on, and these are the internship, and I was the vice president for the biomedical club, and I did this. I visited the company, I did attend the conference, I presented at. We want their resume to grow by the time they graduate. So it's not just like you have a degree from the University of Hartford. We want to make sure they have all those items on their resume. And how do we do it? We have facilities. We are a facility-driven college. We have, 30, 40 labs. And the labs are, you name it, from the makerspace where students can go in and do whatever they want. As you all know, nowadays students are really great at figuring out how to use their phone. I get stuck. I ask my kids, what do you do? Here it is. I think I know a lot about phones, but they know more. So they don't have the hands-on skills. The makerspace provided that venue for them to go in and practice using a drill, screwdriver, circular saw, all that with the supervision of trained people. So we do provide the facility for them. The architecture studio, you see a picture here, the robotics lab, the mechatronics lab, the biomedical instrumentation lab. We have labs in every area, and you'll hear more about the labs in a little bit later. As a small university, again, you have the opportunity to go on and double major or get a minor. So if you are a computer engineer, you can get double degrees, not double major, computer engineering and computer science, mechanical engineering, and I don't know, audio. You can go and cross program. Sometimes it might cost an additional year, sometimes a semester. For some students, they can fit it in 4 years. It's very difficult, but they can do. I think I mentioned here we have connection with industry. We also have connection with NASA. University of Hartford is the lead institution for the NASA Connecticut Space Grant Consortium, which is a government funded center that receives funds every year to give to students and faculty for research, scholarship, travel, attend a workshop. So all this, if you look at what we do and you look at this, what does that mean? How do we measure success? So the academic program, the support system, and the career readiness. I will talk about the support system in a minute. That's what we think, that's how we measure our success. You measure your success for a course as a high school student by, I got a B or I have an A. That's your success. So our success is, where do we stand? We have good ranking. Our students, we are the only university listed in Connecticut, make really good money. The overwhelming majority of students, by the time they graduate, they have several offers and they pick up one of those offers. And some of them, they have a hard time deciding which place I should go to. Should I go to Colorado or Washington State or, I don't know, Florida? I would go to Connecticut. It's nicer weather than Florida in summer. So as you see, this is how we measure our success. We see our number, we see where we are ranked, we see where we stand. These are some of the partners we have, we work with. We work with Cerami Associates in New York. It's an acoustical engineering firm. IBM, Pratt & Whitney. We have a huge partnership with Pratt & Whitney. In fact, before this crisis, every week we have about 15 engineers from Pratt & Whitney being trained by us in manufacturing metrology, which is the science of accurate measurements. If you are measuring the surface roughness of a blade on a jet engine, how do you do that? That's a science. For civil engineering, for biomedical engineering, we have architecture. There are lots of opportunities for students to work with our partners. I did mention earlier the leadership portion of we want students to be part of. So the clubs are really great venue. What you see here in front of you is a list of the clubs we have in the college. So ASHRI, that's the heating, air conditioning, the audio, the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, civil engineering, electrical and computer, engineering without borders. We send 2 teams of students every year to India and to Kenya, fully paid for. They go in and work with them. Of course, we have the Honor Society and the Formula Race Car. Society of Women Engineering is extremely active society, and Society of Black Engineers. National Society of Black Engineers. SWE last year went to several conferences. And at one of the conferences they attended, several of them received job offers. Again, we want students to build their resume, not just get a degree from us. We want to make sure they are prepared. I believe we have been successful in that. So you could see the list of programs here we have. We have the architectural design and technology. Under engineering technology, we have audio and computer electronics engineering technology, electromechanical. Under engineering, acoustical engineering and music, bio, civil, computer, electrical and mechanical. And we have a new program in robotics. We did the soft launch right now. We have 2 students and we are doing a full launch this fall. You will have the opportunity, if you are interested, to join and learn about robotics. The yellow color here or the mustard color here are the concentrations under that major. A concentration is, I'm a mechanical engineer. However, in the senior year, I took a collection of courses in the area of, I don't know, manufacturing. So you are still mechanical engineer, your degree is mechanical engineering, but you have a concentration in manufacturing. So you could say, look, I'm a mechanical engineering, but my concentration is manufacturing. The same thing for biomed, for example. They have pre-med and electrical concentration. We spend a lot of money and effort on making sure our labs are good and up to date. You see here, this is the audio studio. This is the robotics students working in the makerspace. This is the architecture lab studio, students working on architecture. Most of the money I spend every year is on lab equipment, upgrading or buying new equipment. Our labs are for undergraduate students. We have very small program, graduate program, master in engineering and master in architecture. And those are, the engineering is part-time, the architecture is full-time, very few students. So we don't get them into teaching, we don't get them to do any major activity. They can help the faculty, but the faculty teach the classes. That's something you need to ask for. When you go and visit a college, you join and you hear about the college, ask about the class size. Ask who teaches the class, who has access to the lab. The Hour 40 lab, any student can get an access to the lab. All it takes, a faculty advisor says, yes, I'm gonna give you access to the instrumentation lab, biomedical, so you could go there and work because you need to work. It doesn't need that many people approval. The advisor signs it, it's done. So we need more space. We grew and we don't have enough space. So now we are building a new building. This is the building that we started on it about 6 weeks ago, I would say 4 or 5 weeks ago. If we do not have this crisis right now, in fact, on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, is the groundbreaking. Maybe we're gonna do it virtual. I do not know how to get a shovel and do virtual groundbreaking, but it's officially it's tomorrow, and I'm not sure what's gonna happen. In this building, we're gonna have a new space. We're gonna have a high bay to do testing for civil, mechanical, and architecture. That's you know, there are machines to test different material, especially like a beam, concrete beam, or a metal or something. We have a mechanics, strength of material lab, and we have a new concrete lab in this area. On the second floor, we have brand new robotics lab. Makerspace is brand new and large and modern equipment. Mechatronics lab, big one. Turbo machinery, large turbo machinery in the corner of the building. And in the makerspace, we will have tools. We will have lots of things to support the makerspace. I think Evan or somebody is telling me I'm running out of time. 2 more minutes, I'm almost done. And we will also have a totally new lab about the Internet of Things and cybersecurity, which is very interesting. The Internet of Things, you're gonna look at the lab. Those who are interested, we can show you some diagram. We will have a kitchen, a living room, windows, and how you automate the whole room. That's where the Internet of Things. We are doing that. Basically, this morning, the chair was working on the kitchen table. How do you want the kitchen table to be or to look like in the Internet of Things? And the cybersecurity lab, we are having the good team, the good guys, and the bad guys going against each other. So we'll teach them that science. So we are very excited about those labs. While we are doing those labs in the current space, we will have new labs also, smart grid, in larger acoustics lab, tissue engineering, instrumentation, heat and transfer. So there are lots of new labs coming into the building. It's exciting to have all the focus. So in this building, about 40% is for the College of Engineering, Technology, and Architecture. It's across the street, which is North Street, from architecture. So architecture students can come in also and use the facility here. We are very excited about it. So I'm just going to repeat what I said. There are, beside whatever we do for students, we have to support them. We have to make sure that when they need tutoring, they have the tutoring opportunity. When they need to talk to the faculty, they talk to the faculty. So student support is very important in college life. And I think we do an excellent job on that. In that. We have a special team at the freshman level to deal with incoming students. And we have a special team to deal with students who are sophomore, juniors, and senior. And Evan can tell you more because he's one of the team members that deal with sophomore, juniors, and seniors issue. Whatever it is, I think that's where the support is, tutoring, clubs. What do I do? I'm not sure here what will happen. And I think those are very important. Instead of calling you, Mom, I don't know what to do. So there is somebody there's like, here's what you do. This is what we do. And I think this is really important for us. And here is the team for the freshman year. I'm going to invite Evan to jump in and pick it up from here.
All right. Thank you very much, Dean Onajar. So for a lot of you, this is the big decision-making time. I know, we're 9 days until May, which is incredible how soon May is. To be honest, I think all of us are shocked at how soon it is. And so we know that this is really like a critical time for all of you to start making decisions about where you want to go and where you're going to end up. And so my job is to serve as the bridge between, having you guys in a normal situation visit campus, in this case, as we're doing it virtually, to Julie Spring and Travis Karras. And they are our two first-year advisors for our engineering and engineering technology and architecture students. So in your first year, you will have either Julie Spring or Travis as your first-year advisor. And it is their job to make the transition, to help you make the transition from being a high school student to being a college student. During the first year, you're going to take some dialogue courses with them. You're going to have a couple of courses in your engineering curriculum that kind of ease you into it. At the end of your freshman year, you will transition away from having Julie and Travis as your primary advisors into a faculty in your department. So for example, if you were a biomedical engineering student, you would have Julie Spring as your first year advisor. At the end of that first year, you would then transition into a member of the biomedical faculty who would become your full-time advisor. So they're there to help all of you. And they are actually going to be the people that will reach out to you when you decide to deposit to come to the University of Hartford. They'll actually reach out to you and start working with you on scheduling and all of those things, offering any support that they can possibly give. So Hisham, go ahead, next slide. Going back. There we go. So faculty. So this is something that Dean Al-Najjar already talked about, but this is really an undergraduate education institution. And what I mean by that is the faculty who teach here are here because they really want to teach students. They're not here primarily because they want to do research. We really focus in on teaching, and that's why our classes are small, and that's why we really try to make sure that every single time you walk into a classroom, your professor is going to know you by your first name. Maybe not in the first week, but by the end of that first month, they absolutely do. There's a lot of ways to get involved at the University of Hartford. CETA isn't just, we're not just an engineering institution, we're more than that. The University of Hartford has a music school, we have an art school, we have a number of institutions that are available for all of you to be involved in. And so let's say you really like sports. We're a D1 school. We have D1 athletics. One of the students that you're going to talk to on the student panel in a couple of minutes is actually a D1 athlete herself, so she can talk about that a little bit. Um, there are lots of opportunities to take classes outside of your major. Every single student has got room for some free electives in their program. Maybe it's 1, 2, 3 classes. And so you could take a class in photography, you could take a class in music, you could take a class in business, you could get a minor in business. There's endless possibilities in regards to what's available to you on a class basis. And then something that Dean Alnajar mentioned that I just want to reinforce is, we have a really unique club culture here in CETA, and it's something we're really proud of. We have really strong clubs with really strong organization that survive year to year to year and do it well. We had a round of elections for all of our clubs in the past couple of weeks, and they all have new leadership for the new incoming year because sadly we have to say goodbye to all of our seniors. So there's a really good structure available to first year students to get involved in clubs right away. And that is something we care about emphatically. We actually have a club fair at the beginning of the semester that we basically require all first year students to attend. It's not required, but we essentially require it. And it's a great way for students to get involved right away, to find something they're interested in immediately, make friends, make connections, especially with upperclassmen who have been here, who can serve as really solid mentors. We're constantly making improvements on our campus. Dean Aljar mentioned the new building we're getting for the engineering college, as well as for health professions. We've made a lot of renovations in the last few years. There's a lot happening on campus that is extremely positive. The library is beautiful. We have a new dining facility. So there's a lot of new things on campus that look great, feel great, and they are great. And then the Hartford area, as someone who lives in Hartford, so I'm sure I'll ask this question later for, where are the attendees for this event from? I'm originally from Long Island. I'm a transplant to Connecticut. I live in Connecticut now in Hartford, about 10 minutes away from campus. There's a lot to do in the Hartford area, in West Hartford, in Rocky Hill, in Manchester. There's a lot of things to do in the immediate Hartford area. So for people that are coming from out of state, this isn't a dead zone, as some people always think that a certain college might be. There's always something happening, and we're proud of being a part of the Hartford community. Feel free to hit the next slide, Dean Alnajar. So you guys are already helping us out by joining us virtually for this meeting, which is great. Please feel free to look at our virtual experience page on our website to get a sense. If you haven't visited campus before, or you have and you want a second look, I really recommend you do that if you have not done it. I think it's almost impossible to seriously consider going to a school without at least seeing what it looks like. And we understand with the circumstances that we would have liked to have had a lot more students on campus, but what can you do? The other thing we really want to reinforce is that we actually have a CETA virtual page as well that will allow you to see some of our lab spaces. So there might have been some of you that have seen campus, but not the labs specifically. So our Explore CETA page is there and open to you. So feel free to check both of those links out. Go to the next slide. So we are 9 or 10 days, what's today, the 21st? We're coming in on the deposit deadline quickly. If you have any questions at all that are not answered during this Q&A that we're about to have with some of our students, or by me or by Dean Alnajar, please email me at cetainfo@hartford.edu. It's a slide that Dean Alnajar will pull up here in a minute. Please send any questions at all to that email address. If I personally cannot answer them for whatever reason, they will go to the appropriate people. So if you have any questions at all, please reach out. And if you have any questions, even if they are financial aid related, and you want to just, CC me in on the conversation with the financial aid counselor, that's fine. Whatever makes you feel most comfortable. We know the deposit deadline time is a very stressful time. And so we're here to help you, and this is my job. So I'm here 100% for all of you. So I'll let Dean Alnajar kind of wrap up what we've talked about, and then we're going to pivot into a student panel. So thank you.
Thank you, Evan. I think what you heard is we thought about, it's a decision time. What is it? What are you looking for? If I'm you, what am I looking for as a parent, and what would my kid look for? Again, we try to show you that as a small university, we are not just interested in students coming in and getting a degree. We are interested in getting degrees and all possible options related to a degree, a minor, a concentrations. Also, we want them to be prepared to speak well, present themselves, grow their resume, participate, get some leadership skills, get an internship. I think at the end of the day, we want to make sure. I tell everybody, nobody will give you a job because you have a degree in electrical engineering. Nobody cares about that. People will give you a job if you have a degree in whatever it is. When you go in, I have a degree. Okay, what else? What else do you have beside your degree? I can do this, I can do that, I know more, I have training, I have this, I have my faculty support, this is how people get jobs, by showing the added value. And I think we'd work on that from day one, on increasing that added value. So when our students go in, they talk about other things beside having degree. I did an internship, I did that, I wrote a paper with my advisor, I presented at the conference, I attended this. So we do that because we are small and we focus on that. We are going to be here. I'm going to be here. The students panel is about to start. Keep asking questions. I'm answering those questions, and we will get to all the questions. If not, later we will answer all your questions. If you have any question, please go ahead before the panel start. I think Evan will give me 2-3 minutes to do that.
Yes, that'd be great. And we will also answer some of these questions that you guys are asking during the student panel itself. So feel free to keep asking as many questions as you can think of, and we'll pick them up and we will answer them. And if we don't answer them, we will absolutely make sure that I email you and get the answer to you. So can I ask all of our student ambassadors and Renee to go ahead and turn their cameras on and turn on their microphones, and I'll introduce all of you.
Just give me 1 minute. Let me just answer
Sure.
a question, which is really very common question.
Sure.
Is there a difference between undecided engineering and, I don't know, electrical engineering? There's really no difference. There might be difference now in the way they take a course or here or there, but at the end of the year, the courses are the same across the curriculum. Doesn't make a difference. Undecided students are the same. So if you are undecided, you are in the same boat as a mechanical or electrical or civil or bio. They are the same. So it doesn't make a difference. And what we do in the freshman year, we really explain the majors for them so they can make a decision. This is what I want, not that. And we help them do that during the year. So that's yours. Now let me just figure out how to erase all, so I can move on to the next slide. It's not letting me move. Now I think I can. Here it is.
All right. Perfect. Thank you very much, Dean Alazar. So hopefully all of you can see our 5 student panelists. I will let them introduce themselves in a minute. But I just want to let everybody know, feel free to ask any questions you have at all in our Q&A. We'll get to it. We are going to ask some questions. I'm going to ask some questions, and we'll go with the flow, and we'll see what kind of questions we get. So, can I start with having Josephine introduce herself, and we'll go from there.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Josephine Garcia. I am a senior and double majoring in electrical engineering and computer science.
Perfect. Ketty?
Hi, my name is Ketty Stylianides. I'm also a senior, and I'm graduating with a mechanical engineering degree with a concentration in acoustics and minors in math and computer science.
Gabby?
Gabby, you're on mute.
Yeah, Gabby, you're on mute.
Let's try that again. Hello, everyone. My name is Gary. I am a junior studying biomedical engineering.
Perfect. Ella?
Hi, everyone. Ella Telford. I'm a junior in audio engineering technology.
And then Renee.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Renee Perry, and I am majoring in architectural design and technology.
And you are a
Sophomore.
So we have a mix of sophomores, juniors, and seniors here. So they've been here at varying points. They've seen different things. They're in different majors. They're in different programs. We tried to make sure we had as wide of a range as possible for all of you. So any questions at all, feel free to ask. But I do want to just start by talking to Josephine and Ketty, as they're both seniors, to talk about what they're going to be doing post-graduation. So Josephine, if you don't mind starting.
Right. So after graduation, I will be moving to Aurora, Colorado. I've accepted a position as a software engineer at Raytheon.
And can you talk a little bit about how you came about getting that position, and what was it in the CETA programs that kind of drew you to that job?
Of course. So Dean Alnajar mentioned that our SWE chapter went to the national conference for SWE in California. That's where I did my interview for Raytheon. They had reached out to me because I had put my resume on the career website for SWE. And through that, they found me and asked me to apply for it. And we set up an interview during the conference. And a couple of hours after my interview, they actually offered me the position. So that was super exciting. Of course, a lot of it was because of the small class sizes in CETA. I was able to actually, meet my professors and really get to know them. And I think what really attracted Raytheon to actually look at my resume was a lot of the project work that I had on there. On my resume, I had work that I had did with Professor Asaki that I had presented at the BMES conference that I was able to talk about during my interview. But yeah, so that was a lot of the reason for it. And really the support that the faculty gave me that confidence to actually present myself in a way where I can showcase all of my work and efforts in class and translate that to, after school activities or extracurricular projects.
Perfect. Ketty, I know that your news is a little bit more recent than Josephine's. We've been excited for Josephine for a few months now, but Ketty, your post plans.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm a mechanical engineering major, and around the end of last year, I got a internship for over the summer with one of my professors, where I worked in conjunction with a NASA branch to do research on the subsonic flight of supersonic jet engines, which is as cool as it sounds, I promise. And so you might be thinking, why are you talking about an internship for your future plans? Well, I also decided that I was going to go to graduate school to study aerospace engineering and the acoustics of that. But there's a program that NASA holds where you can apply to essentially be an intern the duration of your graduate degree. And I'm very proud to say that I accepted that position only 2 weeks ago. So I'll be working with NASA Glenn, or for NASA Glenn, for the next for about 4 years while I attend graduate school at Penn State University.
Perfect. And I know you're from Pennsylvania, so you're going home.
It's a bit of a cult, but I love it. It's fine. Actually, one of the reasons why I chose Penn State, I was like Evan said, I was looking at it for undergraduate school. But one of the reasons why I chose it for graduate school was one of the reasons why I didn't choose it for undergraduate, and the opposite is true for Hartford. So Penn State's a massive research institution, and so for graduate school, that's a really, really excellent move for me, because it means that I have a lot of research and I'll help TA a bunch of classes and stuff like that. But it also means for undergraduate students, they have classes of 500 or 600 students for physics 1, and I'm not a big fan of that. I really don't like big classes. And so Hartford was pretty perfect for me because they do have the opportunity for me to study acoustics, and they have those really small class sizes. Well, not really small, but small in comparison to Penn State, where I can kind of more explore what I do and make more meaningful relationships with my professors. So.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So, Dean Alnajar, I see there's a question about the audio engineering labs. I see you're looking at that, I think. I was going to say I can have either you or Dave Schumann answer that question in the breakout, so I can let you handle that. So actually now what I want to do is I want to pivot to talking to Gabby, Renee, and Ella. The three of them are involved in clubs in varying degrees. They do different things, and I would love for, starting with Gabby, to just talk about her involvement in clubs, and then I'll just have kind of everybody speak about it. So.
Sure. So my first priority is playing Division I soccer at University of Hartford. So a lot of my time goes towards that. But what CETA has allowed a lot of athletes to do is to get involved in whatever they want without having to sacrifice anything in all aspects of what you're doing. I know a lot of larger universities will not allow athletes to even get a degree in engineering. And so that was one of the reasons that I chose UHart. So that being said, I've been allowed to be a part of the National Society of Black Engineers and SWE, the Society of Women Engineers. And I am the president of our Biomedical Engineering Society chapter. And me, Josephine, Ketty, and Ella, we're also a part of the CETA Student Ambassador Leadership Society, where we get to do cool panels like this, and we get to share our experiences and advocate for the university. So far it's been really great and really encouraging to not only get other students to get involved, but to not have to change my interests or sacrifice one thing so I can still play soccer and pay for school.
Perfect. Renee, can you talk about your ambition in starting a new club on campus?
Yeah, so hi guys. Last year, I guess in the spring, I decided to get together with a few of my gals in architecture, and we started the University of Hartford chapter, Women in Architecture and Design. It was an interesting process because I was a freshman and I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. But I was also involved in the Society of Women in Engineering, and then AIAS, and also NOMAS, which is, those two clubs are also both architecture clubs, and they kind of helped us jumpstart. But yeah, so I was able to kind of start a club that provides programming and a lot of career readiness for female in architecture and career opportunities. So.
And Renee will also be joining the Leadership Society next year. So that's.
Yes, I will.
Ella, can you talk about your direct translation from being an audio engineering technology student to working in your club?
Absolutely. I think probably my favorite thing about the university, other than the classes and the people, is being a part of WSAM Radio, which is, I was just elected general manager for next year, which is great. So I'll be continuing with that. But we have a very active student-run radio station. I see that we have some audio people in the audience, which is really exciting for me that we have interest in it. But there's a lot of opportunities for students who are interested in audio on campus that are outside of classes. We have a record label as well, Red Tail Records, which I've been a part of. That is, we record and release albums and do like on-campus concerts and gigs and things like that. And this is all free for students, and it's very easy to become a part of it. I'm also, like we said, involved in the CETA Student Ambassadors and Leadership Society, and yeah.
And one other thing I just wanted to talk about with Ella. So Ella, as an audio engineering student, obviously is very versed in audio and music and plays music and everything. But she actually, you were the chief technician for WSAM this past year, correct?
Yeah, so which I think I was the first female in its entirety. It's been running since like 1964, never had a female engineer. So now we're starting to get more women involved with it, which is really awesome to see. But yes, this last year I was the chief engineer for that, and I'll be moving up to kind of like the president role.
Sure. I see there's a question about the ratio of male to female students in CETA. I don't have the exact data in front of me, but I would say it's about 70% male, 30% female in that vicinity. 65, 35, 70, 30, about there. Let me go back to Gabby, just to talk a little bit more about, I'm sure there might be some people that are interested in sports. There's been a lot of interest this year in particular in sports and emails. Could you talk a little bit about, the balance between being a D1 athlete and being an engineer?
Of course. So I want to say it's easy, but of course it's not as easy as it may seem. Hartford definitely makes it easier by having the small classes, and I know all my professors, so if I end up having to miss class for a game or just for traveling, it's very easy to make up work. But it will take up a good amount of your time, and that's a good thing and a bad thing because you're losing time, but your daily schedule is very, very structured. So you have this certain time window to get this, and this done, and you have to do it in that time frame or it's not going to get done. Playing soccer has been very, very rewarding because we do have a lot of resources in addition to CETA. And so it's great to see the crossover and to know that you're not alone and like having to figure out what you need to do, what classes you need to take. And as far as missing things for games, you get a sheet in the beginning of the semester where you have all your professors sign it and they say, I know that this student's going to miss this. So like nobody's ever going to give you a hard time.
Perfect. That's great. Because I know there's always, in the emails I receive, there's always press about like, I want to do sports, but engineering feels really intense to do sports with. So I appreciate your answer. That's great. So while we wait for a couple more questions to come in, Josephine and Ketty, can both of you talk a little bit more about your senior projects and, talk about your relationship with faculty and what has the process been like in creating a senior project or working, for example, on the Design Expo and at any level, whether it's your freshman year, sophomore year, senior year, any year?
Yeah, so I mentioned that I had an internship over the summer where I did work for NASA. So that was with one of my professors at the university, Dr. Slaybach, and we had a really good time working on that project. And by the end of the summer, we deemed that it wasn't really as finished as we think it could have been. So I worked with him over the fall semester to see if we could work it into a senior capstone project for me, which we did. And so right now, I'm starting to put together my presentation for the final results of this project. Mine is definitely more of a research-based project, less of a design focus, and that's because I worked with my professor, and like he knew that I wanted to go to graduate school, which will involve a lot of research, so he helped kind of tailor my senior capstone into something that is more useful to me as like me and my future, instead of just being like, okay, well, go design this piece of motorcycle engine or something that you don't really care about and you won't care about. So he really helped make it into something that like I have a personal investment in as well. It's not just a project to me at this point because I've been working on it for almost a year and it's kind of like my child and I want to see it like do really well. And so yeah, I'll be presenting that at both, I believe, both our CETA Expo and at our in major presentations. So that's my experience with the senior capstone. I'll admit I don't have much experience with the other expos, except I have worked as a judge for some of them, just because of being in the ambassadors and being a part of other clubs. But all of the students are always like, their projects are just extremely impressive. And sometimes I can't believe that like these people are only freshmen or sophomores, because the projects are just so, it feels like so high level, and it's fascinating to watch. It's so nice.
Perfect. Josephine?
For me, I'm on like the opposite of Ketty. So more of my projects have really been the actual like design and like building something rather than research projects. So for my senior capstone, my team and I are building, well, we were supposed to build if, you know, coronavirus wasn't a thing. But the whole idea of the project was an hors d'oeuvre serving robot that would be able to detect people and like tell you the allergens of all the foods and stuff like that. And then I also have experience in the other capstone, not the other capstone, the other expo where you present sophomore. So for my sophomore year project, it was an autonomous trash can pretty much that was able to tell you whether what you had put in the trash can was recyclable or not. And for both projects, it followed a very similar structure where, you know, CETA allowed us to pretty much like make a project that we were interested in. Like the project wasn't given to us. All we were really given were like maybe a prompt or like a subject matter, but we were pretty much allowed to take creative liberty and actually like think of something that we were interested in either learning about more or like actually producing and making. So I really like that about like the capstone where it, you know, in my experience at least, I was allowed to pick my project. But for students who don't really prefer that kind of method, like there are like certain projects that CETA like has in stock that like maybe was a continuation from past year's project that they can evolve further, or there's also partnerships with companies around the area. Like for example, I know one of the senior capstones is partnering with the Hooker Brewery near school, and they're doing their project on that to help the business out. So there's a lot of options and like a lot of flexibility that like I really enjoyed, and that holds true as well for like my relationship with professors, because a lot of them, like if I have like a project that I was really interested in doing, I could pretty much just knock on like a professor's door and be like, hey, are you interested in helping me out with this project? Or they'll direct me to someone who would be able to help me out with the project. So the open door policy that like most of the professors have, like, is extremely valuable to me as an undergrad.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So we've gotten a couple of questions that came in quick while everybody was talking. So we're going to do like quick rapid fire. Ashley wants to know, what are some pros and cons of the architectural program versus the mechanical engineering program? I think the best way to answer that would be to have Renee kind of talk about what she likes about architecture, have Ketty talk about what she likes about in mechanical. So Renee.
Okay, so kind of just to start off, I love absolutely everything about architecture. So in high school, I was like super into art and like designing and stuff like that, but I was also really good at science and math. So like architecture is very much a happy medium if you like both of those. It also allows for a lot of freedom and expression. If you're really into the designing side of things, like this is definitely the program for you. If you're also into helping societal needs, this is also the program for you, because it really is about kind of designing things in a manner to really help out your community and help out society in the most sustainable and effective way. Yeah.
That's good. That's great.
Yeah.
All right, so for mechanical engineering, I'm in the same boat as Renee. I love my program. I probably wouldn't have made it 4 years if I didn't. But something that I know I like to say about the mechanical engineering just degree in general, from any college, is that we kind of think of it as a jack of all trades engineering degree. So you can do pretty much whatever you want when you graduate with it. So I know people who have gone like straight into like the aerospace industry. I know people who are like working for car industries. I know people who have started working for like Apple and Bose. And I know people that just don't use their mechanical engineering degree after they graduate and they go and do like software engineering or something. Something that I think is important about the degree itself is that you can do pretty much whatever you want with it. I would say that, like, don't get me wrong, mechanical engineering has a lot of like specific problems that you do have to like think of and learn for mechanical engineering, and I really value that aspect. but it's also you kind of learn how to think. And so something that I think is more even like more impressive or more important than the knowledge that you have to like read out of a textbook or like what's this equation for that, like the way that you think, just having to look at all these problems and thinking of like, how am I supposed to be solving this system if I don't know like 5 different variables? You find a way to break down the problem and you look at it in an entirely different viewpoint by the end of your college career. Like like I said, I'm a senior, so I'm like trying to organize all the crap that I've collected throughout the 4 years that I've been here. And I was like looking at some of my earlier classes and I was reading like where I had problems. I'm like, why did I have a problem with that? It's obviously this. And so like the way that you think really changes in the program. But also like the mechanical engineering department is just so good on the technical knowledge as well. So we have, I think, I want to say, please correct me if I'm wrong, Evan, I think the mechanical engineering department has the most labs out of all of the programs, just because mechanical engineering is so varied. So we have like a fluids lab, we have a material science lab, we have a metrology lab, we have an acoustics lab, we have like all of these different labs that is like specifically for mechanical engineering. And out of all those labs, I think I've only not been in 2 of them, I want to say. My official classes, and then one of them I was in for like my personal research. So like out of I think like the 9 or 10 labs that we have, I've only really not worked in only one of them. And so that's like a whole spectrum of things that you learn. So I technically know how to like look at a material's hardness, and I know how to like measure the like insane numbers that you have to deal with for fluid flow. And just the mechanical, like pretty much it's the jack of all trades degree to me. And you can definitely focus when you're in the degree, but it allows for a lot of leniency, I think, in what your interests are.
Perfect. That was a
I kind of want to piggy off that a little bit more too. So Ketty was talking about kind of like the versatility of like her program, and architecture, that really applies too. Architecture is a very diverse field. You can really take your degree and go wherever you want, whether you decide to like pursue licensure or if you want to go into graphic design or interior design. You really have a lot of options by the time you get your undergraduate bachelor's degree. We also have a concentration in construction management. And although I'm not in that program, I do have a lot of friends that are, and they all love it. And it's also a completely different direction to go into if you're not really into the designing side of things. And then kind of going from there, we also have a huge support faculty system. By the time, I think, Evan, correct me also if I'm wrong here, but by the time our students will be in their sophomore year, they will have a faculty advisor from our program, correct?
yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I have a faculty advisor. Her name is Elizabeth Petrie. She's a first-year teacher, and she's been great about kind of communicating with me about like what my needs are, where I need to go, what my plan is to do. You don't necessarily have to decide right away like where you want to go with your degree, especially because like there's so many options, and you probably won't figure a lot of them out until like your junior, senior year. I'm still working on it, but it really helps when trying to get like a grasp, understanding of like what the program really is. Oh,
Sure.
cool.
That's great. I know that you might have answered this question privately, but I want to answer this for everybody to see about study abroad. Did we answer this privately or no?
I did not. I was going to wait to see if we wanted to answer it publicly.
Yeah, sure. So actually, Ketty and Renee, I think you two would be best to answer this. So Ketty.
Yeah. So I have a pretty close relationship with the study abroad department at this point. So I've never, disclaimer, I've never been on a full semester abroad. My schedule just didn't really work out to allow it personally. So there's 2 options to do study abroad in college, especially at the University of Hartford. The first is like what everybody thinks of when they think of study abroad, the full semester abroad. It's definitely possible. As an undergraduate in engineering, you just have to be like super sure that you want to do like you want to have a study abroad semester like when you're a freshman. Like you need to know, but like almost before you come in, just so that you can move your schedule around to make sure that like all of your general education requirements. We call them UISs at this point, so that they're all clumped into the same semester, so you're not missing any core engineering classes that you have to take. So it's possible, but you do have to kind of know from the get-go that you want to do this, and you just have to work with your advisor and work with the people in study abroad who are excellent, and they're more than happy to help you out. Another option to get that semester abroad is one of my friends did this. So he had the regular mechanical engineering degree, but he brought in a bunch of classes from high school and took a few summer classes, which allowed basically a whole semester of his to be pretty much completely free. So he studied abroad in Copenhagen this past fall, and he just got back, only for him to not come back. But he had a really great time, and I know the study abroad department and him like worked really closely, as well as his advisor, and it was as smooth as it could be. Like we said, it's not super easy to go abroad for a whole semester, but it is definitely possible. So the second option for studying abroad is short-term study abroad, and that's what I have personally done. So I've been on 2 short-term study abroad trips, and I was supposed to go on a third, but it was canceled due to Corona, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So I went as a freshman to Rome and Budapest, Hungary, and then as a junior, I went to Capri and Palermo in Italy as well. So those classes, so those study abroad options are for just a week over spring break. So instead of going home for spring break, you jump on a plane with about 15 other people and you go to another country. These are in conjunction usually with a class. So I'm not really a big fan of gen eds just in general, but a way that I could get through them without having to kind of slog through stuff that I didn't really care about was the fact that these short-term study abroads are part of a class. So I took it as my, as my arts requirement and my culture requirement. So we had class like once a week up to the trip, and then once we got back from the trip, usually our final project was, you know, write an essay, make a scrapbook, do something about the trip, and that's how I got another 3 gen ed credits out of the way. Just like using those study abroad options, which I really was happy about, because otherwise I don't think I personally would have been able to study abroad.
Renee,
Okay,
you want to add?
so yes, study abroad in architecture is a little bit different. It's actually fairly easy for you to study abroad in architecture, and it's only because studying abroad is built into your spring semester of junior year. So spring semester of junior year, you have the option to study abroad at your country of choice. I know a lot of our current juniors, they were just in Italy and they were brought back, unfortunately, but they went with one of our faculty, Professor Sarek, and they were having like the best time of their lives. And anyone who ever goes like on the study abroad trips, like you always hear it, like it literally is the best experience they've ever had. And it's kind of cool because you're able to experience architecture in like this ancient Rome kind of setting, and it's absolutely amazing. I definitely would recommend it if you are considering architecture here at the university. I know I'm considering it. We'll see where we stand next spring, but if I am able to go, I definitely will be studying abroad next spring. So.
Perfect. Thank you. So there was one question about civil engineering. So for whoever had the question about civil engineering, I highly recommend you stay on. We're actually about to transition into a breakout session by program. So you should have been sent a link or an email that has all of the links available to you to join breakout sessions with specific programs. Here they are as well if you need them. So for any civil engineering specific questions like that, I highly recommend you hop into that breakout session. Professor Kashwars would be more than happy to answer that and talk about civil engineering at the University of Hartford in more detail. I really quick just want to say thank you to everybody for joining us today in this. I'm going to pass the buck over to Dean Al-Najjar for a minute to let him wrap up.
Thank you. So thank you all. Students, I think they did a great job. Thank you all. We really appreciate it. I just want to say, you know, as a student, because I saw the question, what's the difference between architecture and mechanical? What's that? I always try to tell students, look, think about not what you want to study. What do you think you want to do when you graduate? This is more essential because you have to like what you are doing. You don't want to go and study, I don't know, it's engineering. And it's like, yeah, because my friend is doing that or my counselor recommended that. If you join us, we will explain all those majors during the first semester. And we normally work very hard in making sure students can transition to different majors without losing credits, because it's not easy to make a decision. But that's what we will do. So again, I think what we try to, again, show you or present to you is our commitment to undergraduate teaching, commitment to supporting students during their program with us, and when they graduate, they are ready to get a job. I think the students, you could see, this is what I love about our students. They can speak, they can present themselves, they can talk, they can have a conversation with you. I don't want them to look in their paper or close their eyes and talk to themselves. So I'm proud of what they did, and we hope you will be one of those in a few years from now. You might be joining us to talk to prospective students. So again, thank you all. We really appreciate it, and you will get more information about the majors in those breakout sessions. I call them rooms, through WebEx, and I hope you will join them. Those who are interested in robotics, I'll see you in a few minutes. I'm joining another room or starting another room. Again, thank you all. I think Evan has been looking at those questions. I answer some of them, and anything that left there, we will answer it as we go. Thank you again. Take care. Bye.
Great. Thank you. So for anybody who does not have the links, feel free to click these links that were just put into the chat box by Nora. You should be able to, you might actually just be able to click those directly, and it'll send you right to that meeting. And feel free to hop around. Like if you're an undecided student and you have a question about electrical engineering, and you have a question about mechanical engineering, feel free to hop in, hop out. They'll be available until 1:45. So feel free to ask any questions in any of those regarding any of the programs that we have. That would be great. And a couple of the students will also be hopping in into their respective programs as well to answer any additional questions. But I really want to thank all of you for hopping onto this call with all of us and learning more about the University of Hartford, even though it's virtually, it's not in person the way we would have liked to have done it. We really do appreciate it. Thank you to the student panelists. Thank you to Dean Alnajar, and thank you to Nora in particular for setting this all up for us. So thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing all of you in the breakout rooms. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. So Evan, I'm going to go and join the other room.
Sure. I'm going to join the civil presentation.
Okay.
Keep an eye on it.